Hello, I'm Nostradamus. If you want to find out all the latest shit that's going on around the world, you've come to the right place. Welcome to Phone Age News. I thought I'd delve straight in this time with my weekly methane report. It's a gas. I get all my information from the NOAA website, which gives you all the latest readings of atmospheric gases. So here's methane from Saturday the 22nd. It's 2 satellites, morning and afternoon. So we've got 4 sets of readings. So I'll just click on the first satellite in the morning, and we've got all the different readings at different levels of the atmosphere. Oh, this is the first one I look at 9:31, quite close to the ground, and as you can see, the lowest reading was 1557 and the highest was 1998, with the average being 1803. Now the figure I'm interested in is the average. I'm not looking for an absolute figure. I don't think anyone can give you an absolute figure as to concentration of methane in the atmosphere, but I'm looking for a trend as to whether it's going up and how fast it's going up or whether it's coming down. And that's what I do. So, each week I take 16 sets of figures from the satellite data, and I've just put them up here just to show you. So all the figures in light blue are last week's, and all the figures in dark blue are from the 22nd. And these are this is close to the ground. This is up a bit. This is halfway up the atmosphere, and this is a bit higher, getting towards the stratosphere, I think. Anyway, it's quite high up in the atmosphere. And as you can see, since last week, all the readings show an increased value concentration of methane in the atmosphere at all levels. For instance, the first satellite in the morning has gone up over all the heights in the atmosphere by about 4 parts per billion. The afternoon readings have gone up by 3 parts per billion. The second satellite in the morning's also gone up by 3 parts per billion, and the afternoon not showing such a high increase of 1.25 parts per billion average overall. Looking at the different heights in the atmosphere, the 4 satellite readings at 931 millibars shows an average increase of 2.75 parts per billion. 706 millibars at 3.25 parts per billion. The readings at 477 millibars showing the highest increase at 3.5 parts per billion, and just a small increase at 300 millibars, 1.75 parts per billion. So overall, the mean total of all these 16 figures last week was 1837.4, and yesterday's readings 1840.2, which is giving an overall mean rise of 2.8125 parts per billion. So that's gone up quite a bit on last week. I've inputted all the figures into the Doomatron, and the 3-week average now stands at 1839.6, which is an average of the most recent measurements, last week's and the previous week before. And this is good, showing the general trends of which way it's going. And as we can see, after a recent sharp rise, it paused a little bit, but it seems like we're just about back on track for more steady rises. Right then. So now I've bored you to tears with the methane report. Let's get on to some couple of news bulletins. This one's from the Independent. From a couple of days ago, this. Eastern European states block bid for EU climate change 2050 decarbonisation target. 25 EU states backed the target but were vetoed by Poland, Hungary and the Czech Republic. 3 Central and Eastern European countries blocked a new EU climate change target on Thursday night, undermining global action to cut carbon emissions. EU leaders had hoped to commit all the Union's member states to going carbon neutral by 2050 at a summit in Brussels, but in the end, only 25 out of 28 countries were on board. Hungary, Poland and the Czech Republic all refused to support writing the target into the EU's strategic programme for 2019 to 2024. The plan was supported by Brussels and had gathered significant momentum in recent weeks. A planned reference to the 2050 target to reduce emissions to net zero was removed from the summit's draft conclusions following the meeting. Instead, a footnote was added, with an explanation that, for a large majority of member states, climate neutrality must be achieved by 2050. The rejection of the target is a blow to the implementation of the Paris Agreement, which aims to keep the global temperature increase to well below 2 degrees C and pursue efforts to keep it to 1.5. Efforts to meet the EU target could make a comeback at a later date. The rotating EU presidency, which set the agenda at summits like this week's, is passing to Finland later this month. Finland's government is keen on fighting climate change and recently committed itself to an even more ambitious target of decarbonising its economy by an early date, 2035. However, the chance to include it in the EU strategic agenda has been missed. Environmental groups reacted angrily to the news and called on EU leaders to hold an emergency summit. To agree the policy ahead of a key UN climate change meeting in the autumn. Hollow words can't rebuild a house flattened in a mudslide or repay a farmer who's lost their harvest to drought, Greenpeace EU climate policy advisor Sebastian Mang said. Merkel and Macron failed to convince Poland and bring others on board, with people on the streets demanding action and warnings from scientists that the window to respond is closing fast. There's that window of opportunity again. It's fucking smashed and boarded up already. Our governments had a chance to lead from the front and put Europe on a rapid path to full decarbonisation, and they blew it. Increasing numbers of member states swung behind the 2050 target in recent weeks, and the support from the 25 countries represents a significant increase on the just 8 who supported the move back in March. He looks like a creep, doesn't he? Poland's Prime Minister. I am not accepting that target. A watered-down version of the text, however, failed to ultimately bring the final opposed member states on side. We cannot agree for now, Polish Prime Minister Mateusz Morawiecki said, ahead of the meeting, arguing that his country needs more cash to help convert its economy away from coal-powered generation. Czech Prime Minister Andrej Babiš added, Why should we decide 31 years ahead of time what will happen in 2050? Embarrassingly, Poland, one of the holdout member states which blocked the target, hosted the last UN climate change COP24 in November. That conference was held in Katowice, Poland's coal capital, and was used as an opportunity by the country's right-wing government to lobby in favour of coal and other fossil fuels. Both Hungary and Poland have right-wing populist governments, while the Czech Republic is led by a populist, liberal, conservative outfit. Climate change has soared, along with temperatures, up the European political agenda in recent months, following widespread protests and floods, including continent-wide school strikes and actions by the Extinction Rebellion group. Green parties also make significant gains at the European elections at the end of May. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Anyway, I can't believe what he said. Czech Prime Minister. Why should we decide 31 years ahead of time what will happen in 2050? And this has just come up a couple of hours ago. Czech Republic protests. Andrej Babis urged to quit as Prime Minister. Massive protests. Hundreds of thousands of protesters have taken to the streets of Prague demanding that PM Andrej Babis resign. Mr. Babis is facing a criminal investigation over alleged fraud and is also the subject of an EU conflict of interest investigation. He denies the allegations. I didn't do it, Your Honour. Organisers say about 250,000 people attended the rally. The figure could not be verified. It is said to be the largest protest since the fall of communism in 1989. So, what's the allegations? He's a flipping billionaire. Look at age. No wonder he's not bothered what happens in 2050. Is it hell fat? He's facing a criminal investigation in the Czech Republic for alleged abuse of €2 million in subsidies over 10 years. Police are investigating accusations that Mr. Babis hid his ownership of a farm and conference centre known as Stoke Nest so that it could qualify for an EU subsidy designed to help small businesses. The billionaire is also the subject of an EU conflict of interest investigation over his Agrofert conglomerate, which he transferred to two trust funds shortly before he came to power in 2017. However, a European Commission draft report leaked earlier this month found that Mr. Babis was still profiting from the group. The report determined that he should return about 451 Czech koruna, or £15.5 million in subsidies. He dismissed all the allegations as baseless and politically motivated. 71-year-old previously voted against the request from the police to strip Mr. Babis of parliamentary immunity. He's refused to step down. And he won't sign up to decarbonisation. What a wanker. Planet's got no chance, though. Greedy, corrupt little men in power everywhere. Anyway, here's somewhere you might find interesting. Muzaffarpur. Muzaffarpur is a city located in Muzaffarpur district in the Tirhut region of the Indian state of Bihar. It's famous for his Shahi lychees and is known as the Lychee Kingdom. Shahi lychee is set to become the fourth most popular product from Bihar after Jardaloo mango, Katani rice and Magahi pan or betel leaf. Like a nice place. That's where it is. Northeast India. We had a lot of heat there lately. It's a very overcrowded city. According to the 2011 census, it had a population of 393,724, which is probably getting on for 500,000 now, and it's only 36 square miles, so it's one of the most densely populated areas on the planet, really. Now, the reason I've given you a bit of background is this news article I've come across today from India Today. More trouble for Muzaffarpur Hospital as roof outside ICU collapses. Encephalitis death toll reaches 109. Amid reports of lack of basic facilities at Skuminsk, one of the biggest government-run hospitals in Bihar, the roof outside the ICU collapsed on Sunday. Sunil Kumar Shahi, superintendent at Skuminsk, said a patch of plaster from the roof fell off and nobody was injured during the incident. And this is the place where everybody's dying of a brain disease. Trouble mounted for Sri Krishna Medical College and Hospital in Bihar's Muzaffarpur, where over 100 children have died due to acute encephalitis syndrome, as the roof outside its intensive critical unit collapsed on Sunday. Amid reports of lack of basic facilities at Skumsh, one of the biggest government-run hospitals in Bihar, the roof outside the ICU collapsed on Sunday. A patch of plaster from the roof fell off and nobody was injured. A patch of plaster from the roof fell off and nobody has been injured. It's not inside any ward but around the veranda area. Place is falling apart. Skumsh has been in the news for all the wrong reasons, as 109 children admitted here with AES or Japanese encephalitis have died already this month. On Sunday, the Skumsh accounted for 109 of the 129 encephalitis deaths at the government-run hospital in Muzaffarpur. Meanwhile, a senior doctor at the Skumsh in Bihar was suspended for negligence after over 100 children died at the Muzaffarpur hospital due to lack of treatment. The AES is a viral disease that causes flu-like symptoms such as high fever, vomiting, and extreme cases, brain dysfunction, seizure, and inflammation of heart and kidney. Now, this Japanese encephalitis is breaking out all over it. It's all over Asia. There's virus. Earlier, a report stated that Skump's facility, where most of the deaths have occurred, have just 600 beds, but more than 900 patients were reportedly admitted in the hospital. A third of them were children. Lack of medical equipment and hygiene have also plagued the Muzaffarpur hospital, which witnesses frequent power cuts, leading to delay in treatments. This was bad to worse. I thought my local hospital was bad. RJD leader Raghuvansh Prasad Singh claimed that there were no basic facilities in Sri Krishna Medical College and Hospital. Nobody can roam in the hospital without covering their nose. There is no beds, fans, or water facility in the hospital. And is that a hospital? Well, I was asking myself the same thing. Raghuvansh Prasad Singh asked. And there's more. On Saturday, yesterday, Skumsh was also dragged into another controversy where skeletal remains were discovered lying in the open in a forest near the government-run hospital. One or two of the dead bodies were found charred, and many skeletons were found strewn on the ground or stuffed into sacks in the forest area, according to an A&I report. After post-mortem, all the bodies are dumped in the forest behind the hospital. I never tried to ask the authorities about these skeletons, Janak Pashwan, caretaker of the Skump, told news agency. Superintendent S.K. Shahi said it was inhuman if the hospital authorities have dumped the bodies in open. The post-mortem department takes care of the dead bodies. Take care of them while they're bloody alive first, then they won't die. This is really inhuman if they have dumped the bodies in open. We will ask their department head to call an inquiry regarding the matter. And I should jolly well think so too. Now for some tectonic news. What's been going on in the Wonderfuck fault? Well, as you can see, we had a bit of a swarm there the last couple of days, including a couple of 5.4s. Look at that. This is where all the stress builds up before it moves into California. We've had this one today, Petrolia, where the fault comes in to the states. So we can see there's movement coming down. Anything else been going on? Zoom in. What we had today? Hang on a minute. So since the swarm, we've only had two sizable ones, apart from Petrolia. This 3.1 on the San Andreas at Aramis, and a 2.5 at Parkfield. Again, bang on the San Andreas. So the force is travelling straight down the San Andreas fault. Let's see how many tiddlers we've got. Lots of small ones. Oh, all on San Andreas though. That one's not. That one's not. Quite a lot around Los Angeles. That force, it's travelling straight down the San Andreas. So I'd watch out. Let's check out what Mount Etna's doing at the moment. Here we are on Skyline webcams. On the Italy bit. Let's find... where's it come? Oh, there he is. Mount Etna, summit craters. Click on that. Night time. Here's a little summer worked out when I was back in primary school. Infinity times 0 equals -1. So if there's any professors of astrophysics watching, struggling with your equations, where the laws of mathematics breaks down, wherever you got this term, infinity times 0, all you have to do is substitute in -1 instead, and that should get you going. You should be able to go back beyond before the Big Bang and everything, and solve the standard models of physics and everything, and solve the meaning of life and everything else. Simples. So I hope that's helpful for you. I'm calling my sum the hopium equation. You never know. It may lead scientists to discover ways of generating limitless amounts of clean energy. Well, that's it for now. Hope you enjoyed the ride. Please like and share my videos. Subscribe if you haven't already. You can email me if you like. There's an email address in my about bit on my channel. You can find it there. Feel free to contact me. Gonna get to work on my bucket list now before time runs out. I think first thing I'm going to invest in is a bucket. That's number 1. Anyway, this is Nostradamus signing off from the lunatic asylum. Goodbye.